Hello, dear friends. We are happy to welcome you to the international discussion that is dedicated to a very important and truly historical event. We are talking about the event Global Crisis, Time for the Truth. It is an international conference that took place on 4th of December 2021. And this conference was carried out by participants of Creative Society Project from more than 180 countries, and it was translated into more than 100 languages. One of the main topics that being discussed there was the climate emergency and the global challenges that we have now due to the consumerist format in our society. And we observe now that the growth and the intensity of climate cataclysms, it just growing, and people deserve to know the truth, but most important, they also deserve to know what is the way out.
Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья.
Hello, dear friends. Today we are interviewing many people who are eyewitnesses of climatic events, and many of them say that it looks like a military actions, combat actions. This is really so, because climate does not spare anyone today. This, our common enemy, it actually erases whole cities and towns of the face of the earth. So we face this situation, and we have to admit that now we have a war. It's the final war of humanity, which was not declared. And in order for us to win victory in this war, we have to consolidate all our efforts and unite. We really want to win this battle because we are people, we want to live. We want to ensure that on this planet our civilization keeps living. We want to ensure that our humanity, the entire humanity, will have a safe future. So today everyone should be involved in this action. So we invite you to the next strategic step of unifying our potential. Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, which will take place on May 7th, 2022.
Indeed, and we continue to discuss these urgent topics of today. And I'm happy to introduce our esteemed guest. This is Gigi Patt from Thailand. Gigi is a CEO and owner of the Abstract 13. Gigi, hi. Thank you for joining us today. So we have here also with us Svetlana Vakhtina from Russia. She is an electrical power engineer. Hello. And we have Christian Puscasu from Germany. Christian is business consultant, and thank you for being with us today. Yeah, dear friends, before we starting with our discussion, I would like to suggest to watch the video abstract from the conference Global Crisis, Time for the Truth, about the main topics that we also want to talk about today. Please show us the video.
The world must wake up.
Climate summit in Glasgow. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged world leaders today.
Le changement climatique est en marche depuis la fin du XXe siècle.
The climate crisis is not our fight alone, it's a global fight.
We see the warning signs in every continent and region.
It is the biggest problem humanity has faced ever.
nila murari de yang lauli ara musulo zaire tapi ara hanala na hanyari ara
but the fire is spreading at great speed. Bak! Allah'ım yarabbim yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Allah'ım yardım et. Arkadan gelenlere yardım et.
More evacuations are underway this morning as firefighters try to contain a fast-moving wildfire.
Kids say just go easy now. Easy. Dad, the car's heating up. It's going to explode. Oh, Jesus, God, help us.
It's a terrifying moment. A mother is trapped in her car with her 4 kids while huge chunks of hail tumble down on them. She does her best to calm them down.
Oh, you're okay. It's okay.
Go! Go!
Pull over, Jordy.
അപ്പോൾ ഒത്തിരി നഷ്ടം വീടെല്ലാം പോയി കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ പോയി അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ വന്നു ആ പൊട്ടി വന്ന വെള്ളം ഞങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ വീട്ടിൽ കൂടെ
People feel that their workplace is changing before their eyes.
The tragedy is, this is not a movie. And the clock is ticking to the furious rhythm
It is a global challenge. We need to act. We feel the urgency.
The longer we fail to act, the worse it gets, and the higher the price when we are eventually forced by catastrophe to act.
This is the last chance.
We hear so many right words.
The climate crisis.
But have those words saved us from climate change? Have those words prevented destruction of the environment? Our world is rapidly collapsing. What will be next? Are we able to change anything? This question has driven each of us to take action. Right now, with this live broadcast, a historic event is taking place. The International Online Conference, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth. 100 languages of simultaneous interpreting, organized by volunteers from 180 countries on the platform of the international project, Creative Society. This conference will change the future if everyone watches it.
Yes, this video is really shocking, and we are not mistaken when we say that there is a war and our common enemy is merciless. It has no mercy for either children or elderly people or any one of us. And it's hard to overestimate the importance of such events as the conference, because as long as we do not know the truth, we are not able to realize the threat which we are facing. And so we cannot take any action to gain a safe future and to ensure a safe future for our children, our close people, and everyone on this planet. I would like to address JJ right now. Could you please share what was the greatest discovery for you in this conference or after it?
Hi, I was found something that actually happened on 15 July 2021 last year, and that on that day is have volcano, two volcano is eruption. Is one is Athena in European that make flood in Germany, Belgium, and Austria and Poland. And after that have another town in Philippines eruption again. So in that time make the earth moving and then have a more earthquake more and more, and after that then we're gonna get more hit by tornado, typhoon, hurricane. The first time we get hit from Jembaga and then Nepatak and also Infa. They are hit by India and China and also some country in Asia. Also in Thailand we get hit by flood 50 city last October, and until that time I found on 14 December, we have a tsunami in Indonesia, but the tsunami is have very small wave, and the small wave is just only 20 minutes, and after that gone. And then again, 15 January, Tonga tsunami again come, but the tsunami is not big wave. The tsunami is also small wave. The reality that happened for this tsunami is have a great shock wave and great gravity wave, but the reality that people not understand why the tsunami come this time and gonna have more or gonna have just only this tsunami. In my opinion, this tsunami is look like same before. It's 3,600 years old in the island of Tiela, Santorini, right now in the Greece, Italy. On that time, we have a really big tsunami, great tsunami, destroy everything. And the tsunami on that time really huge, and many people destroy on that time. Right now, also today have 4 volcanic one in Russia, second and third in Indonesia have volcano eruption, and the third is also just a moment. In Russia in this afternoon. In Indonesia this afternoon also, the time is really close together, and also in Merapi, Indonesia also. So total today we got 4 eruption, and that 4 eruption of volcano is really, really huge impact for the earth, because it's not just get the flood, not just get tornado, not just get hurricane, not just get heavy raining or hailstorm, or some country have heavy snow. There is more impact the same time and the same way, but different thing that happen. Right now, today have Paraguay have flood, Brazil have super flood, and if you see history on 31 January, have big storm hit on Brazil and have 10,000 lightning strike in Brazil. This is not normal. Also in the 4 January, we have big impact. 4 January, we have big impact that Semeru in Indonesia is an eruption. But before Semeru in Indonesia eruption, we also have another in eruption. So this is not normal. Not normal that people can say it's not happen in my country. It's normal in another country. In America can have tornado many times. In UK can have this snow anytime. I can say right now it's not normal, because the earthquake is more again and again and happen more harder and harder, and tornado is come more and more. Right now, I just worry about the next coming tsunami or the third tsunami, and that can make impact in Indonesia or in Thailand as my studying. And what I found after tsunami and volcano eruption, under volcano eruption, they have a really huge gravity. But that huge gravity is not enough for the earth. I think the earth try to make more big than this gravity. That's why the tsunami gonna become very soon. That what is I worrying, and I want to get more and more information. In my country, everybody try to share them location, what's going on. Today have this raining, today have hailstorm, but another country also happens same time and happens same thing. It's not nonsense that people think that it's not my business. So I think it is really have to talk and have to see reality, in fact, what's going on next.
Absolutely. And, I'm impressed because, those people like you, who are monitoring these climate disasters that are happening now around the world, not only in one region, because this is what we observed, that these cataclysms are synchronizing now and happening simultaneously in all parts of the world. And last weekend, the storm, affected the Europe and the USA and, the eastern coast of the Northern America continent. So we see just like every day, if we really pay attention to what is happening in our common home, in our planet. But, some people need statistics. And, while, climate is now destroying our homes, they're destroying our families, they take people's lives. And at the conference, there was presented the 4-month statistic for the last year, 2021. It was just a showcase how rapidly the climate catastrophes now are happening. And Svetlana, you was also participating at the conference, and I know that you are also monitoring climate. Could you please share what the trends we observe now in 2022 and what conclusions we can draw from this?
Yes, I can say that I fully agree with JJ. What is happening right now, we really observe that throughout the planet, just there is a whole cascade of various climate disasters. And basically, going back to the conference, just as you mentioned, what was actually the idea for this monitor and why we started this, because at some point we understood that what is happening on the planet has a certain regularity, a certain pattern. And not always we have this comprehensive vision of what is happening, because now this monitoring is going on and we already see such trends that in some areas, in some regions, we don't have specific information. Like, for example, Asian countries, we have quite little information about what is really happening. I would even say that in some places, for sure, there is an intentional covering of this information, because you kind of look at the territory and it looks like nothing is happening, but we know that it's not true, because what we hear from eyewitnesses, those people who live in those countries, they say about the contrary. And now going back to this comprehensive vision, I should say that a person who is now located in one part of the world and sees only what is happening outside his window, he can say, yes, that something is happening, but not so globally. But if we monitor our planet in its entirety, we understand that this is happening all over the planet. And there are no doubts anymore that there are indeed processes which are already launched and they are speeding up. What are the trends which we have observed in monitoring? First of all, just as JJ has mentioned, it is synchronization of cataclysms. Cataclysms are synchronizing by time and by the places where they rush. For example, over this 4 months period, up to the July 24th to the 24th of November, when we monitored the situation, just think of this. There was not a single day without a large-scale flood. Every day, in some point of the world, there was flooding, and the flooding was so severe that there were human victims, human casualties, ruinous destructions of the infrastructure. And also, of course, the main point is human casualties, because sometimes the events were so that hundreds of people died in one night. It's impossible to disregard such situations. And the contrast, this contrast character of the cataclysm is very press. And as for temperatures, we now see big major fluctuations of temperatures, and there is such a term as excessive mortality. This is what they use in order to explain somehow this extra growth in mortality, like mortality due to heat. Just recall the situation with high temperatures last year in the United States when people died of heat. So how can we measure this, whether this person died of some disease or of heat? So what was the trigger? Was it these waves of temperatures, fluctuating temperatures, which affect human health? Basically, it's not the cataclysm which came and brought casualties right away. It's like, this heat is like silent murderers. It's unpleasant expression, but basically this is what conveys all the meaning, because in some time this impact of the anomalous temperatures cannot be endured by people and by equipment. We saw how cars and equipment were melting of these temperatures, and asphalt was even melting. How can a person endure this, just a human being? Because this really affects health and causes additional mortality. Also, just as JJ mentioned, we notice a huge increase in earthquakes. We observe the number of earthquakes, increase of them, of magnitude 6 and up, 7 and higher. Compared even to the 2020, in 2021, we see a tremendous increase in earthquakes, because in 2020 there were no earthquakes with magnitude of 8 and higher, but in 2021 the magnitude has already increased, and also this number of such earthquakes has increased. Also, which is very shocking, to be honest, it is shocking that over these 4 months when we conducted the monitoring, the number of casualties, according even to the official data, I would like to emphasize that official data is what insurance companies gather, and basically we know that these numbers are many times higher in reality, but even according to the official data, the number of people who died within these 4 months was higher than within the last year before. I think it's the greatest indicator that this cascade character of growing of these cataclysms in the anomalous manner of them. And of course, we cannot close our eyes on such facts. We have to be prepared as humanity on the whole. Thank you very much, Svetlana. It's a great example when people are interested in such things which are important for us to know. We need to know the truth and discuss it in an open manner. When we analyze and provide comprehensive picture to all people, we have in our consumerist format, we have such a trend that not always people kind of are supposed to know the truth. We hear that people are not prepared for the truth, they don't need it, we will take care of them, etc. But if we face the truth and say honestly, people need to know the truth. They deserve knowing it. We shouldn't think that we're like a big flock of sheep who will run away in panic. While hearing the truth, we will be able to weigh all the circumstances and take measures in order to ensure safety. And our guests are deserved worthy example of the fact when people on volunteer basis in their leisure time, not for money and not for some external motivation, but by their internal impetus, they collect information every day, every second, just for the only purpose to tell everyone, wake up, friends. We don't have much time, but we still have a chance. We want not to scare you, but to inform you. So there is such an idea, because soon we will have a forum which is called Global Crisis, where people we want to live. Here we actually see representatives of people who want to live, and JJ is one of such examples. But what we unite our efforts, because JJ actually does the same monitoring as our big team of guys who are doing this on a daily basis. This is so wonderful, and people from all over the world are united in such a noble goal. So JJ, if you are interested to join the team of guys who monitor climate, who collect these facts and study and share information and truth with everyone, this will be wonderful. It's an idea for you, JJ. And now I would like to address our another guest, respected guest, Christian. Christian, we've now seen what is happening to our planet in reality. But where is our attention directed? I mean, the attention not of us personally as people, but the global community on the whole. And what are our actions today to prevent such events? Could you please share on this topic?
Thank you very much for your question. This is indeed a very sad topic, I have to admit. We see that normal people, volunteers around the world, certain communities, and certain scientists as well do really their best to monitor the climate, to see what's really happening. And at the same time, the international organizations, the United Nations, the IPCC, and leading governments in the world are focusing solely on CO2. I think everybody is a bit fed up already about the CO2 topic, thinking that doing something against CO2 will save our climate. Well, I'm actually very happy that JJ and Svetlana addressed this issue of earthquakes. And this is what I ask people. How can CO2 influence earthquakes? Let's say there could be a scientific debate about tornadoes, rainfall, and weather-related phenomena. Let's say it could be, although there's not, because science is only black or white. There's no shades of gray in natural sciences. But how can CO2 influence earthquakes, volcano eruptions, the magnetic field of our Earth? And this is also a big issue, what's happening today, because the magnetic field, which is protecting us from deadly cosmic radiation, is weakening. This shield that we have on our planet. We have the South Atlantic anomaly that's expanding. And we also know that the glaciers are melting from below, that there's a lot of heat coming from the Earth's bowels, and the glaciers on top, they have ice, and below, they're melting and forming lakes, like in Greenland, for instance. And in spite of all this evidence put together, and I'm so happy that on December 4th, this was all put together into a big picture by so many honest scientists, researchers, experts that put all this together to understand what is really happening. And it's not CO2. While the governments and the businesses talk about CO2, and there's a lot of effort put into it. I'm just doing some research on this right now. Per year, currently, $600 billion are spent on fighting climate change, meaning to reduce the amount of CO2 by whichever means, renewable energy, electric cars, carbon capture, and so on. This is a lot of money. And this is a lot of money, especially because it's a big business. At the moment, our attention is purely diverted. Instead of focusing on the real causes and consequences of climate change, we're looking at this CO2, putting a lot of money into it, especially a lot of public money, which is then channeled into, private pockets, because this is what is really happening. Businesses thrive. Green energy has become one of the biggest industries so far, one of them, and it's about to expand more and more and more because so much effort should be put into it according to Glasgow, Paris, and so on. This is what is really happening. Actually, we are not doing anything to investigate further the real cause of climate change, to alert people when natural catastrophes are approaching. Even here in Germany, last year, we had huge flood last summer, 2021. And even in a so-called developed country, the alerting mechanisms were not in function, were not working. And of course, many people lost their lives. I'm not even talking about so-called developing countries, even in a developed country. Because as of today, we don't really care much about human life. We care much more about profit, about making money, about having nice slogans, about applauding at international conferences organized by the United Nations and by the governments. And that's it. But we're not caring about human life. We're just wasting our time playing economic games, and we're wasting precious time because the intensity of climate change is increasing, and it's not linear, it's exponential. That's the thing, it's not linear. And there's nothing that we can really do about it today. We don't have the technology, we don't have the understanding, we don't have the science as of today to really dig deep and to find solutions. And this is one reason why the major governments don't talk about it, because they don't have solutions, but they want to keep everyone calm and think that, okay, if you pay higher taxes, a CO2 tax, if you pay a higher energy bill, if you pay more for electricity, if you pay more when you go and fuel your car at the gas station, then everything will be okay. And we're talking about scenarios about the year 2050 or 2080 or something like this to see the curve, how it will go. If we increase the temperature by 1 degree, 1.5 or 2 degrees and so on. The issue is much more serious, and everybody is going to be affected by this in the very near future. In 10, 20 years, don't ask me, I'm not a scientist. This is what the scientists say. And it's not a matter of nationality or so that American scientists say or Russian scientists. No, everybody's talking about this. I mean, the honest scientists, Americans, Norwegian, German, Australian, Russian, doesn't matter. Real scientists are talking about this. And what is really sad, that they're not even given a voice to discuss this. They're not even listened to. They're even ridiculed, or their work is somehow really pushed aside. And we should really start focusing on the truth, on what's really happening, at the end to save our own lives.
Yes, indeed. And, it's just a simple question. How the CO2 taxes and the green energy is saving lives of those who are now freezing to death in anomalous snowfalls and froze and in the floods and all kind of disasters that are every day hitting each country. It's just absurd. And those who are promoting the false theories and promoting the deals, green deals, just earning money on people's lives, they tell us just that we're not ready for the truth. And I would like to ask Gigi, since Gigi, you're a very social active person and you're also talking every day to people and delivering the truth and the actual situation in the climate change. Could you please share your experience in that question?
For me, actually, I try to explain to the people that what's going on, what happened right now, and what's next gonna happen to us. But I'm also get bad effect from the people that not first time and they not believe, and also get the effect from the government. They don't want I speak also. So, but I not stop. I just want to say that this is gonna happen more and more and more because the environment and atmosphere and the temperature of the ocean is going high. In last 3,000 years, the temperature is going high more and more and more. This can make a tornado, can make more hurricane. And after that, everything gonna come back to the earth. We're gonna get more flood. We're gonna get more snow. We're gonna get more hailstorm. We're gonna get more landslide. And right now, many countries get more flood and landslide, and nobody warning them. We try to make a communication, like not just speak by ourselves, by myself, but I try to ask, do you think this is real? Did happen in your city? Did it happen in your country, I try to make a more communication with my people. So I get more joy and joy. Nowadays, I get more like almost 1 million people that join me and they tell me that what's going on. Like today they send me, this happened in north of Thailand that have hailstorm. And yesterday they told me this is a picture of the ocean, of the sea in Hua Hin of Thailand. And they always ask me, what's going to be next? What we have to prepare? And then I just say that it's going to have this happen, it's going to have more storm happen, or it's going to have tsunami. We have to be careful. But some people also not believe. And some people also think that I'm not a scientist. I'm who I am, why I'm come to talk more and more, and why I'm not shut up. Like many people want I stop to talk, but I say no. This reality can affect and can take your life anytime and any day. That's why I come here and try to talk about the reality gonna happen in you next future very soon. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And, indeed, people rely on those, who will warn them, who will tell them what to do. But it turns out that we can rely only on ourselves. And this is why it's so important to know the truth, but also not to be silent, because this information is now crucial for our destiny, for our future, us as society. And as Svetlana said previously, indeed, we are now in an undeclared war, and we have just a quiet killer, and this is the climate, which is just, cannot be controlled. And we still don't understand why. I mean, in the majority as a society. And I would like to suggest watching the video about the processes that are now taking place in our Earth core and what cause it has for us also as a society and and on our climate. Let's watch the video, please.
We believe that we can control a lot of things, but we forgot that there is a huge mass of molten substance bubbling beneath our feet. At the very center of this red-hot ocean is the heart of our planet. And like ours, it is beating. But now, serious problems have begun inside the core. It could soon destroy our civilization. The core of our planet has a radius of 3,500 kilometers, which is comparable in size to the planet Mars. Previously, it was believed to consist of two layers, an outer liquid layer and a solid inner layer of iron and nickel. However, new findings have puzzled the scientific community. In 2015, researchers from the University of Illinois and Nanjing University in China discovered a strange behavior of a seismic wave traveling through the inner core. Thanks to this discovery, scientists concluded that there is an inner core, and it either consists of a different type of crystal or the Earth's core is still evolving and is gradually crystallizing. This is confirmed by the research of Australian scientists led by Joanne Stevenson.
What I observed is a very small kind of change, but it's got big implications for what's happening in the inner core.
Recently, scientists made another staggering discovery. For some unknown reason, the Earth's inner solid iron core appeared to be asymmetrical. A new model proposed by seismologists of the University of California, Berkeley, suggests that the Earth's inner core grows faster on the east side than on the west side. According to the lead study author, Daniel Frost, the movement of liquid iron in the outer core carries heat away from the inner core, causing it to freeze and grow on the east side. Phil Livermore of the University of Leeds and his colleagues were surprised when a trio of satellites called Swarm detected signs of a fast-flowing river of liquid metal in the Earth's outer core. Researchers indicate that this jet stream moves from Canada to Siberia and now wraps halfway around the planet. The vast jet stream, about 420 kilometers wide, has accelerated threefold since 2000. It remains a mystery why the speed of the iron stream has increased. But the anomalous phenomena don't end with that. Geophysicists at the University of Maryland have analyzed thousands of recordings of seismic waves traveling through the Earth and discovered two strange structures at the Earth's core. One beneath Africa and the other one deep below the center of the Pacific Ocean. These structures are features of very dense, hot matter at the boundary between the core and the mantle, and are known as ultra-low velocity zones at the roots of deep-seated mantle plumes. Notably, each of these two giant blobs has an area comparable to that of a continent, and the height of each is 100 times higher than Mount Everest. In the year 2020, scientists discovered that the patch of hot material beneath Hawaii is even larger than they previously thought. A recent work by Maria Sekamestrenko, a seismologist at the University of Oxford, confirms these so-called blobs as a source of the hot mantle plumes. And those plumes can trigger devastating supervolcanic eruptions when they surface. The mantle plumes caused massive volcanic eruptions that formed Iceland and continue to drive the rumbling activity beneath Yellowstone.
There is a high correlation between these events. Climate changes and mass extinctions over the past few 100 million years.
The results of recent studies of the Earth's core and the structures around it are alarming. And while only scientists know about this threat now, it will soon become apparent to all inhabitants of the Earth. Another important evidence confirming that abnormal processes are taking place in the core is the drastic acceleration of the North Magnetic Pole's drift by 3.5 times over the past 20 years. Together with the extreme acceleration of the North Magnetic Pole movement, a mysterious anomaly weakens the planetary magnetic field, which protects us from dangerous galactic and solar radiation. Scientists have been able to calculate that the Earth's magnetic field has weakened by 9% over the past 200 years. As a result, an area of weak magnetic field known as the South Atlantic Anomaly has been formed between Africa and South America. Moreover, in the last 5 years, another such area has developed southwest of Africa, and it is actively growing. The electromagnetic field is generated by the dynamo mechanism in the Earth's core, and therefore it is evident that changes in the magnetic field indicate changes in the core. Another proof of the anomalous behavior of the Earth's core is the appearance of a powerful neutrino emission from the bowels of the Earth, which was also registered in the year 2015. An even more anomalous event occurred in the year 1998. Scientists detected a sharp bouncing displacement of the core by observing the Earth's center of mass using satellites. As a result of the bounce, the core shifted sharply northward toward the Tamir Peninsula. At this time, scientists at the Medicina station in Italy detected a gravity burst. The velocity of the planet also increased, as well as the centrifugal force. Concurrently, there was a dramatic change in the shape of the Earth. As measured by a laser rangefinder system from the US satellites, the planet began to expand abnormally along the equator, whereas before that, the trend had been the opposite. Because of the increased centrifugal force, magma plumes began to rise closer to the surface, which increased the geothermal heat flow, and the number of earthquakes. As a result, new faults and cracks began to form, through which water from the surface began to escape deep into the earth. In the same year, there was a sharp increase in the speed of the North Magnetic Pole's drift. The bounce of the Earth's center of mass became the key factor of the system's imbalance. This event led to a dissonance among all the Earth's shelves, which caused a dramatic increase in many natural disasters: earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, and so on. It is worth noting that during the same period, there was also synchronous bouncing changes in natural processes on the Sun, Moon, Mars, and other celestial bodies of the solar system. And this also occurred because of the displacement of their cores. This has led scientists to believe that such synchronous bounces may be caused by the influence of external factors on the solar system. In the year 2010, NASA scientists, together with French meteorologists, established a correlation between the increase in average annual temperatures and the rotation of the Earth's core. The fact that the core affects the climate has long been known in science. Back in the 1980s, a group of French scientists discovered that the movement of liquid material in the core directly affects the rotation of the Earth, which in turn affects the oceanic and atmospheric circulation. The bounce of 98 led to major changes on the Earth's surface. But this started even earlier. It is no coincidence that the New York Times published an article in 1985 about the leading role of the core in climate change. But you can't make the core pay taxes on gas emissions, while you can make people pay. So now, everyone has forgotten about these studies. But over the past 50 years, our planet has continued to accelerate. Since the year 2016, this trend has intensified even more. July 19, 2020, was recorded as the shortest day in the history of observations. Even seemingly insignificant acceleration of the huge mass of the Earth will cause catastrophic consequences in the near future. It is clear from all the facts that the processes now taking place in the Earth's core are the cause of climate change. According to many researchers, such drastic global changes in the planet's core are caused by immense energies coming from the depths of space. Our planet is exposed to this radiation every 12,000 years. And right now, we are on the verge of a catastrophe. Scientists have yet to answer many questions, but it is clear that extreme changes are taking place in the core. The core bounces accelerate the planet's rotation and increase its centrifugal force, which brings the magma inside the mantle closer to the surface. This causes an increase in the power of volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, the number of which is increasing. Also, the process of magma uplift heats up groundwater, causing glaciers to melt from below, which leads to catastrophic floods. The situation is progressing rapidly, and very soon we will face supervolcanic eruptions and global floods that will make conditions on the planet incompatible with life. How can humankind survive cataclysms of this magnitude? Each and every person must be involved in the solution to this problem, and we must act with full commitment. Now there is no time to shift responsibility to anyone else. The heart of our planet is already beating faster. This is causing catastrophic changes. Only by admitting the truth about the real causes of climate change will we be able to grasp the full extent of what is happening and unite the entire scientific potential to ensure the survival of all humanity.
Yes, we've just seen a little excerpt from the video, just a little one. And just imagine this whole material was 12 minutes, while the whole conference was 12 hours. Hardly we can actually become aware of the whole scope of information which was on this conference and how comprehensive the picture was presented. In addition to the events which were in December, there was an interesting fact which JJ mentioned. It wasn't on the conference on December 4th, but the July 24th, which was called Global Crisis. This already affects everyone. JJ mentioned this conference that now the land and our Earth is heating, and the ocean is heating faster than over the last 1,000 years. And now we can understand that the waters of the world ocean are heating tremendously. And, somebody can say that it's not true that you don't measure degrees and cannot measure degrees, but just think of this. In order to actually heat the entire mass of waters in the world ocean, the amount of energy which is needed is equivalent to discharge in 3.5 million nuclear bombs, which were those which were thrown on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Can you imagine the scope of this heating, and how can actually we can counteract this all together? Also, what JJ mentioned, she said that people ask her question, why are you discussing this if you're not scientist? But now it's time for the truth. And whom can we call scientists? A person who has a real impetus, a real aspiration to find out the truth and tell it to people, or those who work just for money, who approach research activity. And isn't she a scientist if she so scrupulously collects data and tries to understand the truth? Or should we call scientists those who are, flowing fat of their money and who just, lie in luxury in their wealth? Actually, the same thing is that when people tell her, just hush up, be silent. And we already mentioned that only those people who don't have hearts can say somebody to be silent, because actually everyone understands and governments understand that there are trends which are happening. And what about humaneness? Today we can see these human aspirations like the one JJ has, and it is spread among people. But such information, such facts are actually hushed up. They are silenced. So thank you very much, JJ, for your job, for what you're doing, and don't pay attention to those who criticize you or who say that you should be silent. You deserve spreading this information, spreading the truth further, so don't stop on that. We don't have doubt that this is the truth. We understand how this world is arranged today, this world of consumerist format. There are people who are so-called politicians, celebrities, politicians who actually are respected and trusted by people. And we decided, we had such an idea to address those people in order to help us spread this truth, to help us join the potential and get saved as a humanity. We were inspired, started writing letters, and we wrote tens of letters to everyone, or maybe hundreds of letters to all these celebrities and famous people all over the planet. But they either ignored us or rejected. So we understood that basically actually these people are also, blinded by the consumerist format. They try to keep a blind eye on what is happening on the planet. And we also realize a very important point, that we cannot rely on anyone. And we should not rely on anyone. Everything is in our hands, and we should understand that there are many good, honest people all over the world, and it's very important right now to convey the truth. So we will participate in this further. And now I would like to ask a question to JJ. Could you please tell us what each of us can do right now in order for people to learn the truth? How can we spread this information?
Actually, right nowadays, I try to teach the people to see the side of the nature law. I teach them how to understand what is this meaning of the cloud, this type of cloud, this type of sky, this type of the wind. Also, I explain them what is the meaning of sun halo or the wave, and also something else for them get more information. And I try to explain them, this is not the tool that you learn from you grow up when you are a baby. This is a reality that in fact happened to you right now. This is a reality that if you saw this sky, this something gonna happen to you, gonna have big landing, gonna have flood, or gonna have some big wave. I try to teach them, and after that, more and more people join me, and more people give me more information. After that, I go to research more. I found something that the weather of another in the universe that we have right now, not inside the earth, the weather outside the earth is more impact to the weather inside the earth. When I found solar storm happen, or geomagnetic storm happen, the happen thing is come to alight to the earth. Something always happen to the people. Not just mention that your health from the X, or something is happen on the sky that makes some like Madagascar, or the sky that make many heavy landing to you. Many people need to learn the two and need to understand. When they understand, okay, this thing gonna be happen to us, then they will prepare how they can survive and how they can escape them animal from that area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, JJ. And indeed, these processes are now taking place not only on our planet, so we see them on other planets as well, our solar system. And I would like to use the chance to invite also everyone who researching this topic now, please join the project, join the preparation of the next international forum, Global Crisis. We are people, we want to live. And, many people now, thanks to spreading of this information, thanks to joining the project Creative Society, they asking, okay, this is a great idea. I love it. But how it's going to work? So these are 8 foundations of Creative Society that needs to be implemented on a legislative level. So in each constitution. So you can also read more about it on the website, creativesociety.com. But I'd like to ask Christian, what can you say to people who just now very interested, how it's going to work? So how these 8 foundations will change my life?
This is again a very good question. How will the 8 foundations of the Creative Society impact our life? Well, there's good news for everyone, for 99.99999% of people, that everyone will benefit from this. This is the most important thing. Regardless of your country, religion, race, profession, social status, age, whatever. In this new type of framework for our society, this new way of thinking, of rethinking all our social and economic relationships, everyone will benefit, because human life in the Creative Society is the highest value. And what we maximize in the Creative Society is exactly this human life. what can we do to improve human life, human health, and environment, to really maximize everything that makes us happy, that makes us healthy, that improves our living conditions, our comfort. This is what the creative society is about. And for this, it's very simple to imagine that you do actually the same things during the day. Yeah? You wake up in the morning, you have to eat something, you have to bring your kids to school, you go to work by car, you go to work by train, then you have maybe to repair your car or go to a doctor. All the normal things that we do in life. Yeah, all of us have family, they have a job, they have a hobby, they do sports. But we change the focus of our activities, and especially of what we do at work. Because each and one of us is somehow providing a service or a product to somebody else. We're all interconnected on this planet. Through the global economic system, we're all interconnected. Even here, somebody's producing this type of product, somebody's producing this type of product or different services. We're all interconnected. When I just open my fridge, actually, behind all products there are the stories of millions of people involved in harvesting the crops, milking the cows, in the supply chain, in bringing all those products in the supermarket. They're actually the stories of millions of people working for that so that I can have breakfast. And this goes for everything. So imagine that all our relationships focus on maximizing human life instead of profit. That in everything that we do, we really provide a service. Let's take a doctor, for instance. He's not thinking about the insurance company, the insurance payment, how much money the patient will pay to him. No, he's focusing on doing his job, on saving the patient's life, on giving him appropriate, accurate treatment, and giving him the proper diagnostic in the first place, and actually doing everything so that he doesn't even need a patient, so that people are healthy. Let's imagine a car mechanic. Yeah, you have to repair your car. He's not, again, interested in selling you the more expensive product or repairing something that you don't need. No, he's really focusing on giving you the right service. Yeah. Or let's take another example. We harvest something. Yeah. We want to produce avocados, for instance. I like avocados. Yeah. We're focusing on having really good avocados, really good, that they're healthy for the people, that they have been grown with the best sunshine and water, and that they're not polluted, and that we don't destroy the environment, we don't deforestate, or we don't use too much water. That everything around this product is good and healthy, and it's good for the people, it's good at the same time for the environment. And it's just changing this mindset and rewiring all our goals in all our social, economic, political relationships that we have, that we change the focus. Because let's be honest, today, we focus only on power, profit, and consumption. It's a form of egoism. It's always about me, myself, and I first, regardless if we're talking about individuals, communities, corporations, or countries. And the paradox at the same time is that we as individuals, we're actually good people. 99% of the people are good people. And they try to do good, and they have good intentions, and they don't want to harm somebody, and they don't want to be harmed by somebody. But the current framework of our society, when we all come together into the puzzle, yeah, we all 8 billion pieces of a big puzzle. When we come together, we forget about humanness. We forget about our own lives. We forget about our health. We're all put into a kind of mechanism that's working only for profit, money, some sort of efficiency, fame, status, and all those things. And the problem at the same time is that we have child labor, we have people in slave-like conditions, we have climate change, and we're not really doing something about it, we're making a business out of it. So we really don't care about human life. And it doesn't matter for the last hundreds and thousands of years, for 6,000 years, it's always been about this power and profit. It was capitalism, or it was communism, or all types of political organizations, monarchy, constitutional, absolute, doesn't matter. The story was always the same. Some people, small group, were somehow profiteering and taking the benefits of all the other people. Because it was this focus. The focus was different, and the creative society is about changing our focus. And we can change our focus and we can implement all those 8 foundations, which they're really great for everyone. Yeah. Human freedom, human safety, human security, transparency, self-governing society. We can implement them only together because we have to focus together and first to desire that, okay, we want such a society. We want that we put our life first. As of today, we're told somehow to focus only on our own benefits. And at the end of the day, everybody loses. In the creative society, it's just the other way around. By putting human life first, and not of some people, but of all people, because all people are equal and their lives are all equal and are at the same time valuable and they have the same value. By putting this common good first, at the end of the day, we all benefit from it. This is what the creative society is about. And if this is maybe somehow nice to have, or we're thinking, oh, yeah, sounds great, it is a must-have. We've seen in all these videos how people are dying, and we the ones sitting here in this discussion involved, we're the lucky ones because the tsunamis, the earthquakes, the tornadoes, they did not hit us. But tomorrow, it can literally be any one of us. It doesn't matter if we live in a rich country, if we live in a poor country, if we have a big house or a small house. It doesn't matter if the earth under our feet can collapse or the hot magma is so eager to go up, yeah? and create like a fountain of magma and the volcanoes. This doesn't matter. Every one of us can be affected, and millions of people are already affected. So this is why the creative society is a must-have, because only in such a framework we can put scientists to work together. We can bring all our scientific potential, our skills, our abilities, our knowledge, everything that we have. And at the forefront, the science to solve the problem of climate change, but in the background, every single individual to work towards this common purpose of putting human life first, of saving our lives in front of climate change, and then to thrive as a humane society, to thrive in a different set of values, where the highest value is the human life. This is what the creative society is about. And we can do this and achieve this only together, all people in the world. Just in one country, the creative society won't work. Nice, but it won't work. On one continent, it still won't work. I said that we're all connected in this political, economical, social system. Today, we're all interconnected. Which is good, of course, if we all strive towards this common goal of the creative society. That's what it is about.
Yes, indeed. And I would like to add that this is not the goal that's lying somewhere far away in the future. This is already happening now because people from all over the world are already building the creative society, and we are now at the first stage. And it depends on us. It's really up to us how quickly we will go to the next step. And everyone is welcome to join the project on the website creativesociety.com. Thank you, Christian.
Yes, I fully agree with everything you said, friends. Really, if I put it in brief, creative society is a society where everything will be subordinate to humanity. And now, for example, we see that human health is a commodity, and human life is a commodity, but in the creative society, everything will be different. Now I'd like to address Svetlana with such a question. And today, science, unfortunately, serves the goals and interests of certain people. How will the format of science itself change in the creative society, and how this will influence the climatic cycles?
Да, я, во-первых, полностью присоединяюсь к тому, что
Yes, first, First of all, I fully support what Christian has just said, because indeed the science where human life is the top priority, where all discoveries, all developments are done for ensuring improvement of human life, to preserve human life, to make our living conditions better, more pleasant. This is the science which deserves development, which deserves a creative society. And of course, in the situation where we are now, in such a cascade situation of climate such a cascade development of climate disasters, we really need to unite the entire scientific potential as soon as possible, really as soon as possible. We've seen the video where it is clearly shown and explained in detail what is happening, and all the causes and effects. And the cause is really the cosmic radiation, the cosmic impact, which actually our civilization has never experienced before. There were some phenomena in nature, we already studied them. We know at least how they behave. We so far don't understand and cannot counteract many of these phenomena and cannot predict all of them, but at least we know something. But what is happening right now, we don't know nearly anything, almost nothing. We are just getting to certain first points of understanding what is happening. Christian, you also mentioned healthcare, and also I had such an analogy that right now we are doing monitoring studies of how this radiation is reflected on climate change and our planet as a whole. Actually, we are kind of collecting all symptoms in order to make a diagnosis, if we make an association with the human body. But it's not enough for us to know just the symptoms. We need to know the cause. We need to know diagnosis to diagnose this body, our planet, and we need to find medication which can help us cope with this disease. And also what Denise and Christian mentioned, that this fight against CO2 and where the entire attention is directed is so wrong. I also have such an analogy that, for example, a person focuses his entire attention to cure a scratch on his hand while his whole body is falling apart. That's what we have right now with CO2. This absurdity with decreasing CO2 emissions. So the whole scientific potential should be directed at studying this issue, and of course at finding solution how to track this cosmic impact. I'm 100% sure that those scientists who are now in science, who already deal with various developments, so far these are the developments which are actually only inflate this consumerist machine. It's new technologies which improve some external appearance of certain products, and we can delve into any field and see how mindlessly the scientific potential of people is used, those people who came to science to serve humanity. When we will create, first of all, conditions for such researchers so that they would be able to direct the entire potential at studying this issue and solving this problem, because the life of all people on the planet depends on that, including scientists, including those people who create fake stories about CO2. We are actually in one and the same boat. And we have to unite, all of us, to find a solution. Otherwise there will be nothing. And also science can serve already right now. It's less this is our common global cause, global goal. But in simultaneous, in parallel, we can do everything which we can, because we now see how climate disasters are increasing. We need to do everything possible to preserve as many human lives as possible. First of all, we need forecasting climate disasters, timely forecasting, as JJ mentioned, with your numerous examples. We can recall the recent eruption in Indonesia. all people who suffered this eruption, luckily they survived. They said that we were not warned. Nobody warned us. There were no forecasts. And this relates not only to volcanic eruptions or earthquakes, but also to the events which actually we forecast right now, like cyclones. People do forecast them, but they cannot forecast the destructive character of all these cyclones. And people await that there will be some strong wind and maybe some trees will be hit a little bit. They face actually such terrible storms where their houses totally ruined. And also the storm takes away human lives. So forecasting is really what can save human lives. Just imagine if people, in any cataclysm, I won't note any specific one, but if people will know what will happen, they can get prepared, at least do some preliminary preparations. They are like it is said, if you are warned, you are already armed. People at least can unite and do something. But we see and know numerous examples, millions of examples, when there is already a climate disaster and people join their potential, not like everyone saves him or herself, but people do unite and do something jointly in such situations, in such cases. Most of people survive, or all people survive, because actually this is the only way which works, even during climate disasters. It's unification, united potential of all people, which is aimed at saving human life. And this, life-orientedness is what saves our lives. And this was proven already by numerous examples. We get in touch with many eyewitnesses, and they confirm it. They confirm that there is no, so far there is no notification, no alarming, no forecast. And so for everyone who got into such a natural disaster, it was totally unexpected and terrible. It's terrible to face such a thing, especially when at night such a trouble comes, like a tornado or typhoon. And everyone mentioned that indeed, thanks to unification, people preserve lives. Also, the third aspect which I see is what can science do right now is those technologies which are available today, we can take them and adapt to climate change. Let's look reasonably. January 2022 just finished. Two huge snowfalls, and temperature decreased, which hit the whole world. We see Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Turkey, all the Europe. Basically, all the world was affected by severe, anomalous precipitation, including temperature decrease. But if we see that in the territories where it's not typical, when minus temperatures are nonsense, and especially such great fluctuations, probably we have to do something in those regions. We have to create some heating installations, because infrastructure is not suitable for such weather. People don't even have warm clothes to get to cover themselves with when there is frost. So there are elementary things, but from these we have a comprehensive, complex set of measures which can preserve human lives. Energy issue is very close to my profession, and you just look in all news, like JJ mentioned, there is a huge number of people, tens and hundreds and millions of people who are without electricity. Let's just imagine a person who is accustomed to civilized sort of life, to infrastructure. Just imagine being without electricity for several days. It's food, it's lighting, it's water. So basically we are deprived of all the benefits and everything, all the basic needs we have. While the entire infrastructure and all the electric networks are helpless in front of such climate disasters. Tritely, these are ice this is ice which cuts the wires. These are strong winds that actually hit the electric networks and ruin it, and we have to do it. Experts should deal with this, scientists should deal with technologists who should implement this and implement these technologies. That's what I see. And also I would like to repeat and emphasize again that the very starting point should be human life, preservation of human life. In this case, this whole set of measures will harmoniously fit into our conditions, and we will be able to overcome this period. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see that probably Christian or Gigi would like to add something to that. So if not, then thank you very much for such a broad expertise on the question of science and creative society. And we saw recently that alone just in Syria, people were dying to death in this extreme cold in our refugee camps that are not prepared for such events. And this is just a small case that could have been prevented if we would really care about human life. And actually today, at this point of time, we should already sit at a table, the scientists and experts, and figuring out the solution, because we actually are already past the point of no return. And we still have to say that we are not there. We cannot do it because science is not serving the political interests and the profit of a small group of people. So we're still seeing that our resources, but most important, our time, is being lost just in these stupid solutions and stupid theories. And that's why all these lies that we have been taught, in the last 6,000 years, we're just sad with that. People know now the truth, and how quickly we will come to the point where we really will sit together and find out the solution. Of course, the experts, we need first to inform each of us. We need to inform and reach out every person on our planet so that we can join all this potential that Svetlana shared with us today. And it depends on everyone. It depends on everyone. It's up to you, up to us to share this information, and then we will come to the next point. And exactly the example of the conference of 4th of December, Global Crisis, Time for the Truth, it was an example that we can do a lot together.
Thank you very much, dear friends. Indeed, it's a very productive, fruitful discussion. We showed the reality and emphasized the aspects of the situation which we have nowadays, today. In our childhood, we all dreamed to be heroes, to do something noble and useful in order to save many lives. So now I address to the heroic nature of all of us, of each person on this planet. Friends, the war is already on the way. It's the last war of humanity. We have two options. Either climate will destroy us, or we'll create such a society where the concept of war is actually apt at all. Currently, we do understand, all of us understand that the most cruel war is an undeclared war. When you heard that somebody declares you a war, it's easier because you can prepare. But now there is an undeclared war, and owing to the actions of collaborationists, we do not know what to do. So, in order for all people to know the truth, to realize the critical character of the situation, in order for each person on the planet to understand that this relates to all of us, directly to all of us, our families, our friends. Like, if you don't take any action today, you will be in your life, you will be a witness of how our planet will be destroyed. And humanity will vanish on this planet forever. That's the bitter truth. But this information should not scare us, it should motivate us and gather us together. We need to do everything we can to do our best to preserve all lives on the planet. We all people and want to live. We already repeated many times, and I'll say it once again, we need to revive, to preserve this planet so that it remains for our children and grandchildren. And these events which are happening right now, they will be in history, and it will be good that this remain only history. So we need to... All the actions which we are now doing for the benefit of humanity will be written in history. On 7th of May, we will conduct a strategically important forum. It's an international forum. Global crisis. We are people. We want to live. Now, on every person on earth, it depends whether we will be saved. Salvation depends on all of you, each of you. It's not the history or the cause of some famous scientists or politicians. It's the cause of all of us. We are talking to you, my friend. If you understand what is happening, please take responsibility for the lives of those people who are around you and for your own life. And for all people. But human lives are now lost all over the planet. Friends, we, humanity, now have a strategy which can lead us to victory. We just need to do some tactical actions. We need to create conditions for our unification, to unite everyone, to unite all our scientists, so as to study what is happening. And we need to invest all our resources to the utmost for the main purpose of surviving, and then to create a society of creation and strife. So please join us, friends. Please subscribe to the platform Creative Society. It's very important because this way we synchronize our actions and we create sort of a monolithic block, such a monolithic army, and it's a duty of every person to inform others. We wait for everyone. We hope that true people will hear us. And true people are the majority of people on the planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear friends. Also, thank you for those who are now on the other side of the screen for technical support, and all the people who are watching this conversation. Thank you for being a part of this is a big step for us as humanity. And I would like to suggest to watch the video about creating society and about the impulse that we all as people need to make a next big step. Thank you very much.
Humanity, various races, nationalities, religions, but we are all sailing in the same boat in this ocean of life. And the course of all-absorbing consumerism, which our common ship has taken today, is leading us to precipice. Just a little longer, and we will irreversibly fall into the abyss of economic, social, and climate catastrophes. Perhaps someone doesn't want to see and admit obvious facts, yet being afraid to turn around and see the reality. In the endless rush, in the ordinary everyday routine, in the race for success and survival in this world of consumerism. But every day, more and more people stop and ask themselves these questions. Where is this world coming to? What does the future hold for me and my children? How can I make sure that the world will be a safe, happy, and prosperous place? After all, no matter how successful you are, if the whole world is falling apart, there is no way you can avoid a bitter fate. We can change the course of our ship, which is speeding into the abyss, and instead of the abyss of consumption, steer it in the direction of the creative society. But we can do this only together. We need to unite our collective human potential, become a united civilization, and row in one direction. Uniting in a common goal, we need to direct our attention, our efforts, our knowledge, and our skills to charting a new course. And how quickly we can do this depends on the choice of each person. Our salvation is only in our unity. Only by working together can we build a truly decent world. A world that will have a future for us and our children. And that is the creative society. We still have a chance. So let's take it.